live from a secret studio in Discord once again for the second day in a row. This is Jeopardy! And now, please welcome today's contestants. In the third position, please welcome my good friend, Adam Goodwin. In the second position, also known to our channel, please welcome Julian Cruz. And in the first position, with a one-game winning $4,700, please welcome back Scott Egbert. And now, here's your host, AJ Baker. Well, hello everyone. Thank you, Johnny, for that introduction. Welcome to all of our players here. This is the second day in a row that we're doing this. Jeopardy has been highly requested both by people in the comments and people in the game show server, so that's why I wanted to bring this to you as soon as possible. I've been working on it for months, trying to get the software functional and working, and I'm so happy to say that we do have the images working today, or at least we should. Or I have a way to get the images up and running. So don't worry about that because we already have that under control. All right, so let's say hello to our contestants first. Let's start with Scott. Welcome back, Scott. You have a one-day cash winning of $4,700. Welcome back.
Thank you, AJ.
Okay. In the second position, please welcome Julian Cruz.
Yeah, first of all, my first name's Julian. My last name's not Cruz. It's Sharmack.
Oh, I'm sorry. Whenever I think of C, I think of Cruz. I do apologize. This person, we do have a little bit of a special accommodation for. So Adam Goodwin is not actually on the mic. What we're going to do for him is we are going to, even if the buzzer times out when he buzzes in, I will still get him time to type out his full answer. Scott or Julian will relay his answers to me, and depending on if they're correct, then I will jurisdict if that is right or wrong. Okay. All right. So, are we all ready to play?
We're ready.
All right. All right, so let's do this. Let's go into the first Jeopardy round.
Because the one daily double?
One daily double in this. And just to make sure that the images are working, live you get to see it in person.
Nope.
That is not an image that is going to be an audio recording. Let me try this image. Okay, that works. Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
Since the other one was an audio recording. So I do apologize. And for those, I can just read out the quotes. For the first category, for the categories for this first Jeopardy game, they are World War I. Name that movie. And for this one, for the one image clue in this, for the one voice clip clue in this, you should just be able to name the movie from the quote, so it doesn't really matter if we have the voice clip or anything. It's just the voice of them saying that line. Okay, the third one being middle names, Spot the Kitty, memorials, and finally, add a letter. Scott, you are our champion, so you get to choose first. What would you like?
Well, what is going to be with that movie for 200?
Name that movie for 200. Okay, so this one was the voice clip clue, but you should just be able to name it from the quote, so we don't need that. Here's the clue. In 1991, a character in the following movie said this: "Well, Clarice, have the lambs stopped screaming?" What is the name of that movie?
Oh,
Adam.
Adam. What is Silence of the Lambs?
That is correct. Adam, you get to choose next.
Movie 4000.
Movies for 1,000. Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's what you put down.
Okay, here's the clue. In 1944, quote, "You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow." Adam.
But it's no light.
What? Repeat that answer, please.
It's no light.
That is incorrect. The correct clue was what is. I'm sorry. The correct clue was what is to have and to have not. So yeah, to have and to have not.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Adam, you're still choosing though.
Movie for 6.
Movies for 6. All right. Here's the clue. In 2003, if you're fighting, stop fighting. If you're marching, stop marching and come back to me. Adam.
What is Warriors?
What is what?
Warriors?
That is incorrect. Anyone else? What is Cold Mountain was the correct answer. Adam, you're still choosing.
That was a good movie. That was good. Movie 400.
Movies 400. Here's the clue. In 1961, when you're a jet all the way. Adam.
What is West Side Story?
That is correct.
I would have gone it myself. I would have gone it myself.
Adam, are we finishing it off?
No, he went to Kitty for 200.
All right, spot the kitty for 200. Here's the clue. The Iranian, the Persian, the Zoroastrian. The first closest was Scott.
What is the Persian?
That is correct.
Kitty 4.
Kitty for 4. Here's the clue. The white, the Manx, and the Orkney.
What is the man's?
Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't make it in time. And that is the correct answer.
And Adam was the one that first buzzed in.
Okay, what shall
And
I do?
he knew that one.
What shall I do with this? What shall I do with this? I am sorry, Adam. Once again, Julian, please wait until a podium lights up or either the buzzer goes off because,
Right.
again, the software goes into the intention. I will give you that clue correctly because you did not exactly know that, and it's your first offense. I'd recommend not doing it again. Julian?
Alright, name that movie for 800.
All right, movies for 8. The final,
Now
finishing it off. In 1977, hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid. What is the Star Wars movie franchise?
Oh, Star Wars, but wait, which one? I think it was the Phantom Menace.
It just said Star Wars. It didn't say a specific movie. Julian, you're still in control.
Alright. Bought the kitty for 600.
All right, kitties for 600. Here's the clue. The Vietnamese, the Cambodian, or the Burmese? Adam, or Scott, excuse me.
What is the Vietnamese?
That is incorrect. Adam?
What is the Cambodian?
That is also incorrect. Julian, want to give it a try?
Well,
Alright.
Yeah.
What is the Vietnamese?
what is the Burmese?
The Vietnamese.
That, that was,
Vietnamese
what I
was
said was wrong.
Vietnamese was already said. The Burmese was the correct answer since Vietnamese was already said.
Alright, okay.
Julian, you're
Sorry.
still in control.
Okay. Bought the kitty for 8.
All right, kitties for 8. Here's the clue. The Russian green, the Russian black, or the Russian blue? Adam.
What is the Russian black?
That is incorrect. Anyone else? Scott.
What is the Western green?
That is incorrect.
What is the Russian blue?
That is correct, since you were the only one left. That is correct, so I will give you that one. Julian?
Alright. Finish the category for 1,000.
Finish the cat category for 1,000. Here's the clue. The Himalayan, the Caucasian, or the Uralian? Adam?
What is the Himalayan?
That is correct. Adam, you choose.
Out of the word 1,000. You mean add a letter?
Add a letter for 1,000.
Yeah, but you don't just add a word and add a letter.
Okay, here's the clue. Add this letter to planet, and it becomes easily add this letter to the planet, and it becomes easily bent. What is I? The correct word was pliant. Adam, you're still in control.
Oh, the one next to add a letter.
Add a letter for what? Oh.
It's the memorials, Adam.
Memorials for which wager?
200.
Memorials for 200. Here's the clue. The U.S. Marine Corps War Memorial stands near the north gate of this Virginia site. Scott?
What is Norfolk?
That is incorrect.
That's right.
The correct answer was what is the Arlington National Cemetery? Adam, you're still in control.
Oh. Add a letter 200.
Add a letter for 2. Here's the clue. Add this letter to rim, and it becomes the rim of a hat. Adam.
What is E?
That is incorrect. Scott?
What is B?
Yes, add a B for brim. That is correct. Scott?
Add a letter 4.
Add a letter for 4. Here's the clue. When is a surgeon like a fish? When you add this letter to it. Adam.
What D?
Repeat that.
What is D?
What is T or what is D?
D, like as in diamond.
That is incorrect. Anyone else? What is a sturgeon? T.
T.
Scott, you're still in control.
Add a letter for 6.
Add a letter for add a letter for which dollar?
I said 600.
Oh, 600. Excuse me. Add this letter to crate, and it becomes a big bowl-shaped depression. Adam.
What is V?
That is incorrect. Anyone else? What is an R? Crater. Scott?
Let's finish that letter.
Finishing it off. This letter turns a pony into a flower. Scott. Sorry. Adam.
Sorry. What is Y?
Y is incorrect. Scott, do you want to go for it?
I was saying, what is H?
That is both incorrect. Julian? Okay. What is a peony? An E. An E. Okay. Scott, you're still in control.
Adam, you were saying, what was the answer?
Peony. Peony. Okay. Scott?
Middle names for 2.
Middle names for 2, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the clue. Actor Christopher Kutcher, uses this middle name as his first name. Adam.
What is Pez?
That is incorrect. Anyone else? Ashton Kutcher. Ashton.
Ashton.
Okay, Scott, you're still in control.
Middle names for 400.
Middle names for 4. Here's the clue. We should see a light bulb over your head if you know what this man's middle name was. If you know that this man's middle name was Alva. Adam.
What bright idea!
What?
He said, whoa, who is bright idea?
I cannot take that. Scott?
Who is Albert Einstein?
That is also incorrect.
What? Oh. Oh, wait.
Does anyone know the inventor of the light bulb in here?
Who is Thomas Edison?
Correct. Thomas Alva Edison. Scott?
I just recognize that thing. Middle name for 6.
Middle names for 6. Here's the clue. John F. Kennedy's middle name was Fitzgerald and Robert F. Kennedy's was this. Adam.
Okay, Frederick?
Repeat that, please.
What is Frederick?
You're close, but no. What is Francis? Okay, Scott.
Distribute 2 memorials to 400.
Memorials for 4. Here's the clue. Fort Caroline is a memorial to this country's 1/16th attempt to establish a permanent colony in what is now FLA. Adam.
What is Florida?
No, incorrect. What is France?
Bonn.
Okay, Scott.
Oh, these questions are harder than hell.
I don't choose the questions. Scott.
Memorial 6.
Memorials for 6. Here's the clue. On April 15th, 1962, memorials were held in remembrance of this tragic event's 50th anniversary. Adam.
What is Tuesday?
What is Tuesday?
No. What is Doomsday?
Doomsday. That is incorrect. Anyone else? What is the sinking of the Titanic was the correct answer.
Titanic.
Okay, Scott.
Let's go to World War I for 2.
World War I for 2. Here's the clue. On May 8th, 1915, the New York Times headline read, "This British liner, quote, sunk by a submarine." Adam.
What is unthinkable?
That is incorrect. Anyone else?
Man, Adam, you're just really...
What is the Lustenthethia? Or Lusitania, excuse me. Scott.
WW1 for 400.
World War I for 4. Here's the clue. In 1918, the U.S. military revived this newspaper, which originated in the Civil War. Adam.
What is freedom?
That is incorrect. Anyone else?
We are back.
What is the Stars and Stripes?
Stars. Great.
Okay, Scott.
He was right, but not specific enough.
What?
He was right, but it was not the actual response.
What?
Anyway, middle names for 8.
Middle names for 8. Here's the clue. This artist's middle name was Abbott McNeil. Just ask his mother. Who was James Whistler? Was the correct answer. Scott?
His first middle name.
Finishing off middle names. It's what the middle initial E stood for in Robert E. Lee's name. Adam.
Edward.
Edward?
Yes, Edward.
That is correct. Adam? You choose next.
Yes, he got that one right. He's gonna start those other.
Which category?
Memorial 1000. Memorial 1000.
Excuse me, Memorials for 1,000? Well, that is the Daily Double. Adam, how much would you like to wager?
Maximum 1,000 here. $999.
$999. Here's the clue. The national memorial that commemorates this 1889 disaster preserves what's left of the South Fork Dam. Oh, excuse me. What is you? What is what?
Pearl Harbor?
What is the Johnstown flood was the correct answer. I am so sorry. $4,999. Adam, you're in control.
Finish it off.
Finishing off the category. This is the image one. Cheryl of the Clue Crew provides the clue for Pearl Harbor. No. Oh, the Pearl Harbor Memorial I'm visiting spans the hull of this battleship that was sunk December 7th, 1941. Scott.
The USS Missouri?
That is incorrect. Anyone else?
Oh,
What was the Arizona was correct. We have one more category. We have one more category, which is World War I. What wager would you like, Adam?
1,000.
1,000. World War I. In September 1914, the Battle of this river in Paris, near Paris, excuse me, French reinforcements were sped to the front of taxicabs. What is the MAME was the correct answer. What else, Adam?
600, he's dead now. 600.
600, all right. Here's the clue. The Germans invaded this country on August 4th, 1914, and were soon accused of atrocities there. Atrocities there, excuse me. What is Belgium? What is Belgium? And now the final clue. In the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, Russia gave up a lot of territory to Germany, including these three Baltic states. Baltics. What is Estonia? Estonia and Lithuania were two of the three. Just so you know. All right, that is the end of this round. With everyone in the negatives except Julian. So Julian could have the chance of becoming a new champion. Who is going to become a new champion? Well, we'll be right back right after this with Double Jeopardy.
And
All right, welcome back to Jeopardy, everyone. It seems like from the categories that I see here, we're going to have a much easier Jeopardy round. Everyone is in the negatives except Julian, but I guarantee with the categories like this, we should be in the negatives for very long. Let's start the Double Jeopardy round. The categories are as follows: Presidents, Broadway, Women Writers, Heavens to Betsy, Hither and Yon, and you're going to pot. Notice pot is in quotation marks. There are 2 daily doubles in this set, and Adam gets to go first.
Broadway 2000.
Broadway for 2000. Here's the clue. 2004 is the bicentennial. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Broadway for 2000. We all make mistakes. Jane Kalowski is seen here making a spectacular entrance in this show based on Fellini's film 8½. Adam.
What's the horror picture show?
That is way incorrect. Anyone else? What is 9 was the correct answer. Adam, you're still in control.
I think 800 thing category. No, I think 800 thing category.
What?
Is there 800 thing category?
800 same category for Broadway. Here it is. Here's the clue. Dual Hill of the West Wing tapped his way into the original Broadway cast of this noisy Savion Glover show. Adam.
Stop.
That is incorrect. Anyone else? What is bringin' the noise, bringin' the funk was the correct answer. And I am not joking, that actually was on the cue card. Okay, Adam, you're still in control.
1500 Broadway.
1500 for Broadway. Or 1600 for Broadway, excuse me. Here's the clue. This Rodgers and Hammerstein musical bloomed again in Broadway in 2002 with La Solange es Mille.
Oh, my.
Adam.
What's new?
That is incorrect. Anyone else?
Oh, I'm glad I found it.
What is Flower Drum Song was the correct answer. Adam, you're still in control. Finishing up Broadway. Just to mention now, which is kind of interesting, Adam is now down exactly $9,999. Back to Broadway. With puppets like Lucy the Vamp in this musical, the musical Avenue Q has been called South Park meets this show. Adam.
What is Sesame Street?
That is correct.
Adam, you're still away from me.
Okay, you're still in control.
Man. Go now, I think he's gonna finish it off.
Finishing off Broadway for $1,200. Here's the clue. Fresh from his Oscar nomination for, quote, The Cooler, he warmed up Broadway in 20th Century. Who is Alec Baldwin for that one?
Alec Baldwin? Oh my god.
Adam, you're still in control.
President 2000.
Presidents for 2000. Here's the clue. 2004 is this bicentennial year for this president home in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. Who is Franklin Pierce was the correct one for that one. Adam, you're still in control.
Past 2000.
Which one?
Past 2000.
What?
Yeah, man. You're going to pot for 2000.
Pot for 2000. Okay, excuse me. Here's the clue. Its atomic number is 19. Scott.
What is potable?
That is incorrect. Anyone else? What is potassium?
Potassium.
Okay. Okay, Adam, you're still in control.
Pot 400.
Pot for 400. Here's the clue. Chinese dumpling, steamed or fried. Adam.
He lost it.
Okay, he lost his answer. All right, Julian.
What is Sustain's pot?
That is incorrect. Anyone else? Scott? What are pot stickers? What are pot stickers? Adam, you're still in control.
5,400.
Heavens to Betsy for 400. Here's the clue. If you can't visit her in her home at 239 Arch Street in Philadelphia, take a virtual tour of it on the web. Adam.
Who is Betsy Watt?
That is correct. Adam, you're still in control.
Writer, 400.
Women writers for 400. Here's the clue. A sonnet by this poet ends like this. And if God chose, I shall but love thee better after death. Who was Elizabeth Barrett Browning, was the correct clue for that one. Adam, you're still in control.
Writer, 8.
Women writers for 8. Here's the clue. Welcome to the World, Baby Girl is a recent book by this Southern novelist and TV personality. Who is Fanny Flagg was the correct answer.
Fanny Flagg. Oh man, I heard her in that game.
Scott. Sorry, Adam.
You know, heard Fanny Flagg in that game. President 4.
Presidents for 4. Okay, here's the clue. Though only 57, I'm sorry, though only 5'7", this founding father was called the Colossus of Independence. Adam.
Who's Lincoln?
No, Lincoln is incorrect. Scott?
Who's Washington?
That is also incorrect. Julian, want to give it a shot? All right, Julian.
Who is John Adams?
That is correct. Julian, you're in control.
Alright. Presidents for 800.
Presidents for 8. Here's the clue. In 1921, this big wheel rode inauguration in a Packard Twin 6 convertible. Adam.
Who's Ford?
That is incorrect. Scott.
Who's William Ford, Scott?
That is also incorrect. Julian, want to give it a shot? Who was Harding?
Harding.
Okay, Julian, you're still in control, though.
Alright. Hitler and Ton for 400.
Which one?
Hitler and Ton for 400.
Oh, that's Hither and Jan. 400. Here's the clue.
Yeah.
Both in size and population, it's by far the biggest city in Iraq. Adam.
Who is Iran? What is Iran?
That is incorrect. What is Baghdad was the correct answer.
Okay.
Okay, Julian, you're still in control.
Alright. Hitler and Jan for 800.
Hither and yon for 8. Here's the clue. This North American country's name may come from a word meaning collection of huts. What is Canada? Was the correct clue for that one. Julian, you're still in control.
Alright, we're going to pot for 800.
Pot for 800. Here's the clue. It killed about 1 million Irish in the 1840s. What was the potato famine? Was the correct answer for that one. Excuse me, Julian, you're still in control.
Alright. Heavens to Betsy for 800.
Heavens to Betsy for 8. Here's the clue. Betsy Blair was nominated for a 1955 Oscar for playing Ernest Borgnine's shy girlfriend in this film. Adam.
What is Big Fat Greek rating?
That is incorrect. 1955, Big Fat Greek Wedding started in, I think, 2004. What was Marty? Was the correct answer for that one. Okay, Julian, you're still in control.
Presidents for 1200.
Presidents for 12. Here's the clue. A special luncheon at the 1901 Expo in Buffalo for this president's wife went on without her. Who was McKinley? Julian, you're still in control.
Finish the category for 1600.
All right, finishing off the category. Here's the clue. President in the 1850s, his name inspired a comic strip about a duck. Adam.
Who's Donald?
No. Anyone else? Scott.
Who is Howard?
No, that is incorrect. Julian, want to give it a try? Who was Millard Fillmore?
Fillmore duck.
Okay, Julian, you're still in control.
Going to pot for 1200.
Going to pot for 12. Here's the clue. Home furnishing store founded in 1949 that sounds like a good place to buy a 9th anniversary gift. Adam.
What is a public?
That is incorrect. Anyone else? What is Pottery Barn was the correct answer.
Pottery Barn.
Julian, you're still in control.
Finish the category for 1600.
Finishing off the category, here we go. Theodore Roosevelt Island is a 91-acre national wilderness park found in this river. What is the Potomac? The Potomac River. Julian.
Alright. Women riders for 1200.
Women riders for 12. Here's the clue. The Window and Time Passes are sections of her stream of conscious novel, quote, To the Lighthouse. Who was Virginia Woolf was the correct answer for that one. Julian, you're still in control.
Women writers for 1600.
Women writers for 16. Here's the clue. Middlemarch is one of her masterpieces. Adam.
Who is Emily Dickinson?
That is incorrect. Anyone else? Who is George Eliot? Okay, Julian, you're still in control.
Alright. Finnish women writers for 2000.
Finnish women writers. Here's the clue. In her 1899 book, The Awakening, shocked critics with its frankness about women's emotional lives. Who was Kate Chopin? Was the correct answer for that one. Okay, Julian?
Heavens to Betsy for 1200.
Heavens to Betsy for 12, and it's the first out of 2 daily doubles. How much
Okay.
How much would you like to wager?
I'll just wager 200.
You'll wager 200. Okay, here's the clue. In the film The Betsy is one of these that Lawrence Oliver names for his great-granddaughter. Oh, sorry. Let me get that clue back. Any guesses?
I have no idea.
Okay. The correct clue was a car. Okay, Julian, you're still in control, though.
Alright, Heavens to Betsy for 1600.
Heavens to Betsy for 16. Here's the clue. She was perhaps best known as a game show panelist before she played Jason's mother in Friday the 13th. Who is Betsy Palmer? Julian?
Alright, finish the category for 2000.
Finish the category for 2000. Heavens to Betsy. A 19th century song tells the tale of this gal, quote, who crossed the wide prairie with her lover Ike. Who is Betsy from Pike? We have one more category, and it is hither and yon. Which wager would you like, Julian?
1200.
You get both daily doubles. Okay, how much would you like to wager?
Let's try to wager 200 again.
All right, 200. Here's the clue. For the first time since the Ice Age, this country has been joined to Western Europe by a 10-mile bridge to Malamo.
Malmo, I think you meant.
Malmo.
Well, that's a tough one. I don't have any ideas.
Okay, what is Sweden?
Oh, okay. I see.
You're still in the positive though, and you're in control.
Alright. Hither and yon for 1600.
Hither and yon for 16. Here's the clue. Under British protection until 1971, it's an island emirate in the Persian Gulf. What is Bahrain? Bahrain. Alright, and finishing off the double Jeopardy round, here's the clue. You'll find the Sea of Azov, between these two countries and Comrade.
These two countries, Comrade.
Russia and Ukraine. What was Russia and Ukraine? Alright.
Deja vu?
That is the end of this round. It seems like Julian is the only one going to Final Jeopardy.
Oh, wow, okay.
Which is unfortunate, but we will have you two back on a later episode. Scott, you have still collected $4,700 from your previous wins. Adam, we wish to have you back on a receptive note with your mic working on a later episode. But Julian will be playing in the Final Jeopardy, where he will be bidding on this category. On exhibit, player, make your wager, and we'll be right back. Alright, so the Final Jeopardy category is on exhibit. There's only one player here, and that is Julian. He will become champion if he doesn't get in the negatives here. But here's the clue. The Chinese government, which controls all of these in the US, won't let a new one be named until it's 100 days old. Julian, you have 30 seconds. Good luck. Alright, Julian, did you think of anything?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, well that's fine, because you're still going to be our champion with $200, since Scott has now become in the negative. But again, Scott, we hope to have you back on another episode of Jeopardy here. Thank you all for watching. Again, it's been lovely filming this show, actually getting to do this. This has been lovely. But for now, that has been Jeopardy for tonight. My name is AJ Baker, and on behalf of Scott, Julian, and Adam, we wish you good night. Good night, everybody.